have an uninterrupted electricity and water supply from solar energy in the Gambia and beyond. Worry no more, because Solar Enterprise will provide you with the solutions at reasonable cost. We have experienced personnel who can install and advise you about your electricity and water supply with a warranty period. We have good quality solar products from North America and Europe. We provide services and sell products to individuals, organizations, institutions, private offices, communities, and government. These products are solar panels, batteries, charge controllers, inverters, water pump, water heaters, freezers, submersible pumps, and general solar accessories. Visit our stores at 48 Caraba Avenue and Brusubi Highway, or you can call us on 7657 479 980-8483, 340-9400 or 635-9906.
Jamano Money Transfer Bureau de Change, your go-to option when it comes to money transfer. With Jamano, you can send money from anywhere in the world to your family and loved ones in the Gambia and be sure the funds will be delivered to them within the shortest time possible. For your convenience, funds sent through Jamano Money Transfer can be picked from all the banks and multiple other financial institutions, including Ajib Bank, Trust Bank, GT Bank, Mega Bank, Basic Bank, Reliance Financial Services, and Approved Services. Visit our head office at Brusubi opposite AfricMed next to Trust Bank Limited, or email us at info@jamanomt.com. You can as well call us on 310-3050 or 310-3051, or yet still 733-0688. Our opening hours are 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Monday to Saturday and 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. on Sunday. Jamano Money Transfer, your most trusted money transfer service where customer satisfaction is paramount. When you think of a simple, fast, and reliable money transfer, think Jamano Money Transfer.
I get it. Albaka.
Mbaka important.
Yo, nga transfer la sto.
Ya transfer la sto.
Ha, code nyingi.
Okay. What's that? Nsila ID soto.
Sorry. I get it.
Bijan bro.
Albaka.
Mbaka.
Bara alla service o tariya. Mbale ki janna nun kunu bara tariya.
Jannom yona forest de bureau. Gambia tonkon na no mbali ya bere. Birim koyna fo kato.
Bari si kodo kino kato ni fo bolong blabe.
56 branches mola soto Gambia jam.
Ha?
Gambia kono ani Gambia bantala bankol. Nko kodo kiya bere. Kodo sifa fo falindiro fo nyaadi lafta memmen na kodi topoto nin kodi maraw. Jannom number 1 ti nyonta. Andum fana nata anoda enterprise sotale. Wolam nyindi ko domorol fana kol fana be firale le dadi man domorol ni fana beteat. Gambia dawda yalo ngam fa kendol sotale je.
Wo moyo diat ha.
Apelenta
baraka ni na lafta nyelen kendol e bina.
Yalo bukani la ko la baraka ba.
Yalo ndel chosano lo.
Baraka.
Islamic microfinance is becoming an increasingly popular mechanism for poverty alleviation, especially for developing countries around the world. This microfinance service adheres to the principles of Islam as a form of social responsibility. Yona Islamic Microfinance is the Islamic microfinance of choice in the Gambia, trustworthy and reliable. At Yona Islamic Microfinance, we provide savings products, current accounts, financing products in conformity with Islam. In addition, Yona Islamic Microfinance also offers local and international remittances, takaful fund, management of zakat, management of awqaf, trading and investment, and building of strategic partnerships to bring financial services to the doorstep of the poor with donor projects, madrasas, youth organizations, women groups, and farmer organizations. Make a choice with Yona Islamic Microfinance today. For more information on Yona Islamic Microfinance, call 377-2151 or 9832-151 or visit Yona head office at Tipa Garage, Bakote, or visit any Yona branch located countrywide near you.
Afternoon and welcome to the brunch. This is Lamin Cham with your weekly look at events in the Gambia and a chat always with personalities who make the news. This week it's about news review with my panelists. You've seen them already on your screen. Demba Ali Jao, veteran journalist, and Setmati Jao of the Civic Society and also of Afro Barometer. Welcome, gentlemen. Since we haven't got much time, we go straight into the conversation. And the first item that I'm going to talk about is the reported leakage of an audit report, a special report, that the police are after at both the IEC. Well, I don't know much, not much is known about the one at Banjul City Council, but there, 27 members of staff have been interdicted, put on half salary as the police investigates possible fraud in the way the Austin Banjul project was managed. Let's deal with the Independent Electoral Commission. Mr. Jao, you've written quite a lot about it. Well, let me start with Setmati. We saw, and allegedly, a letter from the IEC chairman or IEC to President Barrow, purportedly complaining that the police intervention in the audit matter is an interference in the affairs of the IEC. And although the IEC didn't officially confirm that this letter was from them, I tried the spokesperson who said he cannot comment, but it's been widely believed that the letter is authentic. IEC didn't come to deny it. So here we are, a whole lot of money, $301 million, put into personal accounts of whether they call them commissioners or other officials, for them to spend, retire, and even after that, there are still monies they allegedly did not retire. So the IEC says involving the police there is a matter of interference. What's your take on that?
Well, I mean, I'm still following the audit report. The other time I started reading it, and I think it's really it's serious. It's serious if it all turns out to be proven. But I'm also still confused. I'm not sure whether that letter I saw was is authentic or not. But if it is, I think the debate is two levels. I mean, one is about accountability. It's not about interfering in your job, in the way you do it. But you are given like state money, and anybody that is given state money, I believe that they're supposed to account for it in one level or the other. And I think the audit was basically about that. And so I thought if the National Audit Office, as an independent institution that is tasked with auditing all that, has the power to do that, then therefore the outcome of that needs to be further investigated by the police. But what I'm not sure is also, I mean, whatever an audit report comes out, then the police have to do an investigation. Because there are quite a number of audits that I haven't seen that as well. But whether it also has to go all the way to Parliament, for Parliament to see it, because IEC is also responsible, then for Parliament to dictate, the police. So I'm not sure in terms of the ways, but for finances and all those things, I think the National Audit Office have the responsibility to audit almost all government institutions, and how they do it, that's also their choice. So for me, the interference part, I haven't seen it, and I think that is also it's interesting that it raises certain, maybe perhaps even legal questions in terms of, whether asking IEC to be accountable on the finances that are given to them constitute interference. But I would have seen that interference might come from at the operational level, but not on saying that, well, we're giving you this money because it's part of the budget, that we're giving you this money, now you have to account for it. So I'm not sure, but let's see.
I think the alleged interference from IEC's quarters has to do with the involvement of the police. But like you said, the National Audit Authority, National Audit Office have, on many occasions, and in some aspects, recommend police investigation for possible fraud in some reports, in many reports. Because I remember even the last Auditor General said the government is not implementing the recommendations, and those recommendations included suggestions for police to investigate. So, but the IEC, according to the Constitution, has it's been stated that their budget, shouldn't be scrutinized by
the executive.
The executive.
Yeah.
So maybe it is in account of that they think that the state is involving in what should have been really an autonomous issue. Are they?
Yeah, but then so the issue for me, this is what is also interesting, and I think if the letter is genuine, they are making very
no, the letter is authentic, because
they're making very interesting debate as well, which I think is they're throwing it back to the public in terms of what is this independence, what does it mean, to what extent should it manifest, whether the monies that are given to you to account for, because every money that is given to anybody, you have to account for it, and basically that's what it is. That's why you have the accountant general, all that thing. Even though it is given to you not through the executive, it is given to you by Parliament, so you are safe from the executive interference. And that's why we call, like, executive saying, we're going to cut your budget, we're going to do that. But that's why you are safe from that. That's why you have to go to the National Assembly. But I don't think when you go there and it is allocated, then therefore you are safe from the fact that this is the way you spend your money. Because IEC, eventually they go back to the National Assembly and report through their own audits. But even if you look at that letter, it is stating also that the Auditor General stopped their auditor, and then they do that. So for me, this is what is not clear in the entire process of IEC and how they have been managing, operating internally, which is also has been far away from the public. And this audit is basically bringing everything about the IEC to the public. And for me, instead of just focusing on the money, it is important to also look at the wider picture, to look at the challenges, because election is 2 years from now. So
when did the IEC, since when have IEC started, starting to word of government interference? I mean, there might be many cases where people perceive that government is interfering, but at no time did we see the IEC complaining that government is interfering. But this one we've seen it. That's
why I say it's still interesting. I mean, it's still interesting, and I haven't read the entire audit report. So that's why I'm very careful in terms of concluding.
Well, the most salient point is this. Okay, many analysts believe that the first rule the audits indicate has been violated is the fact that public monies are put into private accounts. They said this is number one departure from the laid down rules. It should have been in the accountant or in the commission's accounting officer or finance director, whatever, should have been responsible for the money, dispensing it to the commissioners, and then coming by reconciling and giving receipts. But to put them directly in their personal accounts, people said that is the number one problem.
IEC has been here since 1996. Perhaps, we're just discovering that this has been the practice since then. I'm not justifying anything, but I'm also saying that institutionally, there's so many things that are not okay, in terms of processes and all that. And this is where one of that is. So, like, they can spend all that money, but during elections, they have these returning officers. And these are people responsible at the regional level. So perhaps that money was for the electionary purpose. It could be spent, it couldn't be spent, but it's not been accounted. And I think the audit is about how do you account for these things. And I think for me, that's where IEC needed to come out and say, well, this and that, instead of going to this independence and interference debate. Because then for many people on social media, I see people thinking like they are running away from the issue of accountability. So for me, the conversation has to be, nuanced in a way, but still, it's still too early for me to conclude on the issue generally. But I think it should be a big concern. It should be a big concern that we should look at it.
What about the general involvement of the police now in investigating audit reports, which raised red flags about possible fraud. In the past, the government has been accused of not acting on the recommendations of auditors. Are we seeing a departure from the normal now, that the police going into every official who have been adversely mentioned in audit reports, or are we still in the beginning, or is it selective justice as people?
No, I'm seeing growing independence of institutions to a certain extent as well. I mean, like if you look at the IC letter, they claim independence, but National Audit Office is also independent office.
Yeah.
The Inspector General Office also be expected to be, independent in a way. So, but this independence is also linked. Each of us have to be checked by the other. IAC is given money. The National Audit Office ensure that the money is spent according to the government rules or the rules that have been set. And then if the report comes out and the National Audit Office is responsible for accounting that, they don't have that, then the police comes in. So this is like the whole setup of the society. So
are we just seeing?
No, for me, I'm seeing more of independent.
The BCC and the IEC case, are they the starting of what probably will?
No, listen, since within this so-called transition, I call it so-called transition now because I don't know whether we are transitioning or we are just continuing now. But I see institutions coming out and showing their own independence. Like, okay, this is our task, this is our role, this is our responsibility. Therefore, we have to do it to an extent, especially among the independent institutions. And you see that with the Human Rights Commission, with all these different, they are showing that what their powers are and the room that has been given to them. And so, of course, we are seeing also the police also getting involved, because sometimes not only the National Audit Office, but sometimes even the Parliament do recommend for the police to, based on their resolution, for the police to take charge of that. So the police exists to support all these existing institutions as well, and their interest is just maybe to present what is on the ground, and they're the special agents for investigation, and so that's what it is for me. But I'm seeing more institutions coming up, becoming more independent, but it has to be tied to the wider legal frameworks and all that, so that people would not see that one moving doing their job is like witch hunting against the other one. So that needs to be avoided, I think.
For example, people have started saying, are the police bold or independent enough to go after other audit recommendations? For example, secure report, the Banjul roads projects,
those are things. Those are, I mean, you see, that's also where government. That's why I say when this issue is governance. In the morning I was trying to discuss that the separating governance and politics also, because with governance you have to be consistent as well. Politics, you can change your mindset and all that, which is normal in my own view. But when it comes to governance, you have to be very clear that these are set up, these are things that are supposed to be done. But then we see that secure report, there was an audit, so much corruption, COVID-19 and all those things. Even there were resolutions and we did not see those things. So consistency is important when it comes to this issue, especially if you're interested in building trust, in ensuring that people will not construe it as if you are just targeting a particular group. And especially now, if you look at the local government issue, people are talking about the elections coming ahead, because unofficially we are in election period. So in that period, now you see all these different actions, and people will look at it, is it that this is more politically motivated rather than being interested in governance? And for me, as civil society, we're very much interested in governance, because that is what is going to affect us. But if it is construed in a political sense, it creates polarization. Even if government was doing it in a more genuine way, they might not get it, because people will not trust what they want to do.
And for a moment, did you see the police intervention, for example, in the case of Banjul City Council, kind of taking the glory or out of the election, or maybe the local government commission taking what would I say, outpacing the local government commission?
No, I'm getting confused now, because there's a commission that is investigating. Is that the commission that say that they should go and chill?
No, that
or is the established local government?
It is the local government service commission.
Yes,
that asked the police to be the police,
because that commission is basically the oversight of all the oversight. It performs oversight function and basically regulates some of the things that are happening. I mean, they can. I don't know. I mean, but I think
the issue now is the local government commission, which is investigating more or less similar things,
which is
still not done with its report and etc. if actions like
It makes sense now. That I mean, they should wait for the commission to finish because then it might fall into it and all that.
Yes.
Because this time sometimes it's really messy, and that's why people cannot extract politics from the whole conversation. Because one is happening here and something else is happening here, and I mean, this is a small country. People can easily pick dots here and put it somewhere else. Sometimes might not even belong there. But this is also things that we need to think about, especially if we want to set the record straight. At least one I mean, it's different reports, but there's a whole commission looking at that. Maybe at least it would have been nice to allow that. But if they want to do their job too, it has nothing to do with the other commission.
Are we seeing now action being taken or government getting serious in trying to fight corruption? As far as audit reports are concerned?
This is a very interesting situation, particularly with regards to the IEC, because if you look at the purported letter from the IEC chairman, it's talking about during the Jammeh era, there was no interference. Nobody was trying to even audit them.
Yeah, there was
I mean, it's a possibility, because I've never heard about the IEC being audited. Probably they, construed that to mean that they are not supposed to be audited. According to their act, nobody should interfere with the, budget or whatever. But like Seth has said, this is public money, and anybody who is given public money, definitely there must be accountability, and accountability can be done through auditing. There is no other way that you can account for the public money that you've been giving without going through the exercise of auditing and auditing. And I think the audit office in this case, we are quite right. They should audit any institution, any public institution which is dealing with public money. So I think if the IEC thinks that is interference in their work, I think they were wrong in this particular case. And by asking the president even to stop the audit office and the police from interfering, they are even asking the president to interfere with the
other people's work.
Police work. So that is ironic. I think it's okay whether what happened whatever the case. I think they need to account for it. Public money, if you spend the public money, if you're given public money, you should always account for it. And the audit office, I think, is the best institution that should go into it. Again, how did the police get involved? Because as we've seen a lot of audit reports, with even some of them with even bigger sums of money involved, but the police have never been involved. Why in this particular case they are involved? Well, probably we can say that the audit can, always ask the police to investigate any matter that they can. That's possibly the case. But there
were recommendations in audit reports, which specifically said that the police should investigate. And they were not done.
Well, that's the question now. Why suddenly the police have been involved in this particular case, and in other cases they were never involved, even though people expected them to be involved. All these issues, I think, need to be clarified. Well, in the case of the Banjul City Council thing, again, I agree. There is already a local government commission, and I think, whatever situation dealing with accountability or other thing should have been passed on to the local government. But somebody would say, this was a particular project.
Yes, the Banjul Austin project.
It probably was not under the mandate of the local government investigation commission, probably. So that's why the police have decided that they are going to investigate this particular project, how it was.
But the local government commission is dealing with matters related to all finance that have gone to the councils, whether they are projects or not.
Well, I don't know what connection it is, but it's. I would have thought probably the local government investigation commission should be given the chance to look at every aspect
until they are ready.
Eventually, after their report has been submitted, probably they can make recommendations. But somebody would say this is a specific project which probably doesn't fall within the mandate of the investigation commission. So these are all issues that need to be clarified. But this is the situation, and anyway.
So what do you are we now, like I told you, seeing a more proactive how to call it, nature of government's response to corruption allegations or via audit reports, or are we seeing what critics have already said is selective justice? Government might be interested in, for example, discrediting the IEC. Because I've seen opposition quarters, or some analysts, may not be opposition, saying, well, the government is publicly going after the IEC to discredit them so that it will provide grounds to replace them much easily.
Well,
The commissioners. We know that the chairman.
Probably we can start interpreting it that way. But as they say, one swallow doesn't make a summer. You know, I mean, the very fact that the audit report has been presented on the IEC and suddenly the police have been involved in investigating the matter doesn't necessarily mean that the government is now, completely engaged in trying to fight corruption or something. That is definitely, it's just one situation we have seen. Several other situations have arisen in similar situations, and virtually nothing has been done. We've seen what has happened in the security report issue. The COVID-19 issue with regards to the health sector. We've also seen what happened in the Gum Petroleum case, when millions of dollars were supposed to have been fraud.
Dollars.
And then suddenly some people were taken to court and then they have been freed. Now who is to account for that? Nothing seems to have been said. And it's, various other places also have been involved. The audit has come up with very damning reports with regards to those areas, and virtually nothing has been done about them. So it is definitely not an indication. The IEC case is definitely not enough indication that the government is serious in fighting corruption.
Holistically.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on, the role of the National Assembly. We have another investigation going on. You mentioned the Russian oil saga. The investigation is still not complete, but we've seen issues and concerns about the public as to the committee doing the investigation now. Agreeing to officials or institutions such as Central Bank, the Finance Intelligence Unit, and even Access Bank, private commercial bank, choosing to testify in camera.
Well,
and there have been criticisms that this thing is not encouraging transparency.
And again, we have not seen, the police being involved in this like they are involved in the EC case. Again, we've heard about this Russian oil saga, but where are the police?
Are they waiting for investigations to be over? Even I think even the police themselves testified. The IGP testified. In private. In camera. No, actually, yes, in camera. That's right. So, what do you take out, sir?
For me, for committees, Parliament is supposed to be for the public. Parliament is for the public, and when those things, everybody come, make an excuse, national security here and there, and then they say, okay, in camera. What is national security about? The security has already, we're talking about 13 million that has just been sold, and the government hasn't got anything and all that stuff, and people are coming and they are hiding behind certain excuses. For me, I think I blame Parliament on those things. Like, of course, there are supposed to be room for certain security issues. You create for that. But everybody comes, even private banks, what are they hiding? So those are the things. And if sometimes, like, when people see those things, 1, 2, 3, and 4, it becoming a trend.
It makes the whole.
They make a whole say, why are you, having a public meeting in the first place? So for me, sometimes these are things that, we need to rethink about this and make sure we do things just in the right way and move on. Because otherwise now, instead of working, you are creating more problem for the work that you want to do. Even if you come out with a report, people are not following, they don't know what you are discussing, and you want to come and expect people to believe those things.
Believe your report. People have testified in camera.
So when those are things, they can say the right thing.
What should FPAC do? Are they going to, because virtually this means that nobody will ever know the testimony of the central bank governor or the other.
There are some sacred cows are being protected here, because the very fact that they are asking to get into camera, whatever. Honestly, I think it's not fair to the public, because this is public money involved. And if the government is really serious in fighting corruption, they should do it in the public, so that the public would know at every step of the way, rather than going into hiding or something.
What makes you disappointed? This is Parliament. This is not any government agency. We have Parliament comprising MPs from different political parties.
This is the opposition, actually. It is led by the opposition.
Yes.
So because that's the rule for us. FPAC is chaired by the by the opposition.
Yeah.
But then the other issue for me is I I don't know whether because every committee makes their own rules and all those things, and how they decide that is also, you know, on them. But for me, I'm thinking about what is the security risk for me is people driving their ship or whatever all the way to this country, so that, and now, you know, nobody can tell us anything. And now this parliament that is doing the investigation is, you know, behind and then doing it
telling us that they have.
So for me, I really don't understand, because this is about money, this is about that. So we need to know those kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Because also when this processes, you know, what they fail to get about these processes teach the public about you know, functions,
what to do,
what people are doing, you know, those things. And every state require that. If you don't have that, then, you know, people will be missing the information and you create more problem for yourself.
And the way it was going so transparently, everyone was really following keenly until these disruptions, you know, through camera testifying in private.
I think they are creating precedences here, because if they allow it to one institution, and of course other institutions will request, and there is no.
And then the whole point of investigating,
everyone can claim national security. Nobody knows what national security means.
So the message for FPAC is that it is not acceptable to. To accept people to request that they testify in camera. It defeats your purpose because it means that whatever these officials have said will never be known to the public. Will it reflect in their report?
Something they're hiding.
But the parliamentary reporting is not like our reporting. It's also, you know, it's a different system.
Should it not be published?
So it might not be as detailed. It might be there, well, this one said this, but it's not going to be as detailed. Just look at the FJ. It's not as detailed with all the position papers and everything that people presented. There's a parliamentary format for reporting.
But eventually it doesn't get published, does it?
Well, it gets published. Parliamentary reports are published, but then the details, the recommendation and everything get published.
Yeah,
and it could be discussed also when they submit their parliamentary.
Well, what I'm trying to ask is, if you said the central bank governor should testify in camera, is his testimony eventually going to be in the report?
Yeah. So what is going to be right in the report?
So then why keeping it secret?
But not as detailed as some of the everything else. Like for instance, if he was being bombarded and with all these different questions. Well, but the only main issues that come up, because parliament, like nobody, politicians don't have time to read all this lengthy report.
So there are certain aspects like names or something of that sort which have been mentioned will not appear in the report, because the very fact that they have to do it in camera, it means they are shielding certain, you know, information from the public, and I don't expect that to appear in the parliament.
But also parliamentarians might have access to all the documents and everything that they have. But for the committee, that's what I'm trying to say. But all the documents and things that have been presented, they might have access to that to make their informed decisions.
For example, the outlining the parliament themselves outlined the nature of the investigation. A Russian oil ship showed up in the Gambia. Suddenly, the companies responsible got registered. The allegation is that the registration process was itself questionable. The opening of the bank accounts and the operations in the bank account system is questionable. The central bank was interested in whether money laundering, you know, didn't happen. People were allegedly bribed with a lot of money to look the other way. Regulation was changed. There was a letter which says now oil marketing dealers, traders from outside can now come and deposit directly the products at Gam Petroleum, which has never been the case. I mean, a letter came changing the policy in the middle of all that. So all these are suspicions that the parliament is trying to investigate, and they were doing a good job until now, when, you know, people are testifying in camera, and the whole population and the whole purpose of the investigation is now being defeated.
Yeah, because people were really interested. Now you're disconnecting the public, and most of these people are very like the imbilas, you know, and now you're making people not to be interested in also what is happening, because, you know, it's like you read in the paper and quite in the middle of it is like removed, redacted, and, you know, you can get a little bit, but it doesn't make sense. And at the end of the day, they come and finish conclusion. So what are we gonna do? So for me, I mean, I think Parliament, one, they have to be very clear in terms of what the rules are supposed to be. Like, especially if they're setting up an investigation, they can tell, or they know all these people that they want to investigate. You can tell that, okay, some of it can be in camera because of whatever reason. Like, you prepare the people in advance. Like for the security committee, certain things, even us, we know like it's not business for us, especially dealing with operational matters and all that. You know that it's not your business, so people stay away from that. So for me, but this is a different stuff. This is about finances. You are talking about poverty. You are talking about a lot of these things in this country, and you are talking about people not fulfilling their responsibility towards the state, and yet you, the representative of the people, committee that is tasked with that, you're giving preferential treatment to some. For me, I don't see any reason. Maybe they have the information, I don't, but I don't see any reason why money conversation should be behind the scenes.
Okay. Yesterday, we all know that the Commonwealth Heads of State Summit happening in Samoa, in the Caribbean, I guess.
Pacific.
In the Pacific Ocean area, the Pacific took place was taken, but just ended, I think, in Samoa. And the Gambia's key interest was the Gambia Foreign Minister Mamadou Tangara was in the race to become the Secretary General of the organization. Shortly yesterday, we received reports that that job actually went to a Ghanaian who's now been named, selected by the heads of states as the new Secretary General, the seventh actually of the new of the Commonwealth. The news has received with interpretations that the Gambian campaign was, well, to say the least, not as robust as the Ghanaian one. For example, people pointed out that the Ghanaians put more energy, more enthusiasm, even at the level of the heads of state. President Nana had to fly to different places, including the Gambia, of course, purportedly to lobby for his candidate. Do you have a feeling, Seth, that the Gambian campaign was not as robust as should have been?
Well, Ghana has more money, and they have also a president that has more international exposure, experience, more diplomatic track record. So there are quite a lot of things that, for us, one of the things that perhaps we're going to go in with is our goodwill, niceness, and all those different stuff. But when it comes to real campaigning, we cannot be compared to Ghana in terms of the money, in terms of it's historical. With all that, and then you also have, because also states measure their participation in international setups like this as part of their foreign policy goals, and it shows that they have real foreign policy interest to be part of that. But even here, if we have that, we don't want to invest in it. We haven't invested in that, and that's it. For me, this Commonwealth is Commonwealth, so.
Well, yes, that's a different matter.
So it's a different matter altogether, and yeah, but Ghana had more money, more invest, more connections, and for me, I think that's what the difference is. But also, they have all this long historical Pan-African kind of approach to stuff, and recently all these candidates were talking about reparations and all those different stuff, and of course you look at also the members of the Commonwealth. You have all the people in the Caribbean,
and Pacific,
and this whole movement of returning back home. So Ghana has been seen along those lines as well. And yeah, so for me, I think they invested more money, and yeah.
So Jawa, do you believe that is just the mighty Ghanaian cocoa dollars that have done the job for them, or don't you think it's the prudence that the Ghana government put behind the ladies' campaign?
I agree with Sid. Definitely Ghana has much better diplomatic clout than the Gambia in every aspect you look at it.
Yeah.
So they played that very well to their advantage. And also the very fact that President Barrow didn't go to Samoa. I think he had a candidate there. I think he should have gone. At least he can, try and lobby amongst his colleagues there. But he didn't do that for whatever reason.
Couldn't he argue that he was on leave?
So we can. Well, he.
But this is like a foreign. This is a Gambia wanting something.
What I'm saying, he took the leave when the time he wanted to take it. He knew that this was coming. He could have postponed it until after whatever the case. I think.
You mean his presence would have been important, even for nothing but at least to boost.
The campaign was definitely robust.
Not robust.
It could have been different, although. It would be extremely difficult for Gambia to, compete Ghana in that area and that diplomatic aspect.
Anyway,
whatever the case, but I think we could have done much better, and President Barrow should have been involved in it, and go to Samoa and face to face with his colleagues there.
Did we even send envoys, publicly?
If you do that, people will start complaining.
Complaining about what? government budgets. Countries budget for this kind of campaign.
They have a campaign committee.
When we wanted the ECOWAS Commission president, I think we campaigned.
But ECOWAS is written. But now you see this Ghanaian, the president was flying all over.
Himself, he came here.
Himself coming to us.
Yeah, I'm trying to say, do they have more money than us, or they are more interested?
They have oil, they have cocoa.
Well,
It's both.
I mean, they have their cloud is definitely much mightier than us.
I thought at the beginning it was said that our candidate has the backing of the major players in the Commonwealth, such as Britain, New Zealand, Malaysia, and then we have the leverage in the Muslim countries in the Commonwealth.
Only 2 Muslim countries in the Commonwealth.
Oh, right now
Bangladesh and Pakistan.
Indonesia.
Indonesia.
Oh, they left.
They are not common. They have never been.
They have never been there. Okay. All right. So what about Malaysia?
Asia.
Thailand.
Okay, Malaysia. Yes, Malaysia. No,
Malaysia is there. Thailand is Asia. Yeah. Malaysia is there.
Bangladesh and Pakistan. They are the majority Muslim countries in
Nigeria.
In that part of the world. I mean.
In that part of the world.
I mean, this was Africa. This was Africa's turn this time because the first Africa had only one
Nigeria, Chief Anyako.
But this was Africa's turn this time round. Of course, Africa had 3 candidates, so we expected
Ghana.
Africa had about 90 or 20 members of the Commonwealth.
Yeah.
They are in Africa,
And most of them in the south.
And where did
in southern part,
in southern countries?
Where Lesotho is.
But Ghana is not anywhere nearer than us.
Ghana is bigger, is more visible. Like people will find Ghana easier than find us.
So you mean the East, West, and Southern African countries all followed Ghana?
The Pacific.
And the Pacific.
We don't know how the votes turn, but likely if she wins, then definitely.
Yeah.
So you want to see that maybe the presence of President Nana for that
one definitely has a lot of
because President Barrow should have gone. You mean?
Yeah. Well, probably it would have helped, but it would still be difficult for Gambia to come.
To come.
Absolutely, it would be. I mean, because Gambia and Lesotho don't have that much clout
as Ghana.
So that's why it wasn't surprising that both Lesotho and the Gambia lost the bid to Ghana. Yeah.
So it's not just the Ghana money, but like you said, Ghana has more cloud, diplomatic cloud, a long-standing history of Pan-Africanism, and then of course nowadays Ghana is welcoming all the people, descendants from Africa in the Caribbean and other things.
Yeah.
So all those things would have played.
Yeah. Because also like the president's presence, is also very critical.
And it was quite interesting.
Because if you sit there with your colleagues, you can easily coax them, say these things, nice things.
Yeah.
Because either way, it's the presidents that were voted or the head of states that were voted.
The Gambia, like you said, put up Fatou Bensouda, perhaps one of our best, one of our most recognized international face. Perhaps. That was strategic, isn't it?
The campaign committee.
But also, remember Kenya, the ICC, like there are things that,
that's
and internally also.
Was it very strategic when you have ICC, when she was ICC, she was not very much loved by the Kenyans and other areas.
So, that could be a possibility.
You're right, it may not be strategic also.
Yeah. And then you also have, for me, I also think it might not count, but the internal issues, because here also not almost everybody.
Absolutely.
And that also
that's
right. Our own citizens are saying.
It also caught international media
attention.
When it comes international.
So didn't we shoot ourselves, in the foot there?
Yeah, possibly. Maybe than those that we are campaigning now.
And people blame you, activists, people like you, behind that campaign. You didn't see the national interest.
I was not part of those.
I know. When I say active, some activists.
No, but it's not even like the typical civil society. Even some of those I don't even know.
Oh, they are individual. Mari Jabbar is particularly very critical.
Mari is his own civil society.
He's in his own class.
Because sometimes we disagree. On this even debate, I debated. I mean, because for me, the arguments I couldn't understand. And for me, what I couldn't understand, I debated. And so eventually for me, I also think in the final analysis, we must also bring these internal issues. We
put them aside when the national interest is at stake.
I mean, but that's why I'm asking you, what is the national interest? My national interest is that Gambian name be there, but other people are more interested in what he has done. And that is part of their national interest. So the issue is like,
But would Gambian people's voice for or against Tangara matters, when actually Gambia has only one vote.
The issue is it got to international media attention.
Because the very fact that people are...
He was asked questions like that at the Charlton House debate.
Yeah, it got into the media attention, and when it got there, you know, you don't know who is reading, who is there. Anybody could access it, and candidates can use it in their own campaign, because that's why politics is politics either way.
Yeah.
Oh well,
we will not know exactly. We are speculating and analyzing it, but it's interesting though. But
maybe I'll get Tangara himself and tell him like how did the campaign go bad.
I doubt if he will ever get
He rarely gives interviews.
He's not media friendly.
He rarely gives interviews too.
He's not.
Really?
Oh yes, Tangara rarely gives
Forget
interviews.
Tangara. No.
Yeah, that's another thing. That's
maybe that could also be like, I mean,
he rarely gives
Secretary General now Commonwealth is also talking about changing and all that. You need visibility.
Absolutely.
You know, those things are very...
Some Commonwealth Secretary Generals were very outspoken. Sridhar Rampal, when I was small, he used to, well, it was difficult, but he used to attack Britain and others for supporting apartheid. Chief Anyago, Nigeria, was very much anti-apartheid at the time. They were outspoken.
But you know, this is the problem also within our country. The issue is like there are policies. Like, this is our policy towards apartheid, this is our that. But the Gambia, what is our policy towards this? What is our foreign policy?
Well, that's it.
Those are things, but sometimes when you talk about it, they say non-interference, this and that. But we are interfering almost everywhere.
Yeah.
You know, we are doing all those kind of stuff. So it needs to be very clear. But for me, I think the one we have been doing, and we're doing it, and it's not very visible, issue of human rights. We're doing that at the global level, which is really good. You know, you need to know what you want to do, you know, as a country, and then you pursue that in the global stage. But like, you know, sometimes in our diplomatic way, it feels like we are scared of the rest, and we just go and then ask for things. You know, so what are we taking? What are we contributing? Those are things that are like, we're going to be just a country that benefit.
But Rajuf actually said, you know, we don't have a foreign policy.
Yeah, he said that.
You know, I think he was quite right. And Tangara, I mean, has something to answer in that area, because he's been in the diplomatic service, in the foreign service for quite a long time. So at least he should have a clear idea as to where we're moving as far as foreign policy is concerned. But it's very, I mean, opaque. You hardly know where the Gambia is as far as diplomacy and foreign service is concerned.
Yeah, because for me now, one of the issues, like even the issue of Western Sahara, you know, Gambia used to talk about a lot of it. Now it seems like, I mean, you need to tell us clearly, because part of the AU and all those things, I mean, I talk about Western Sahara because, you know, as an independent country, part of the AU, we're supposed to support. There, but almost everybody now is quiet about that.
Maybe the friendship with Morocco make them uncomfortable.
That's what it is. But as a country, you know, as a country, no matter how small you are, no matter how little you think you are a human being, and you have a pride, and you have to have a sense of what you want and how you want to contribute in the international system. For me, that's why sometimes when all this, you know, we move away here, we start singing, doing those things. It doesn't speak up, and it doesn't matter whether, you know, we have only 10 million.
At least we are outspoken when it comes to the Palestinian-Israeli conflict.
Well, because President Barrow is the chairman of the OIC, and you know, OIC definitely should be taking the lead as far as the Palestinian issue is concerned. But again, even there, it's not very emphatic. You know, I mean, it should have been more emphatic as chair of the OIC.
Like he should have been around the Muslim Ummah countries trying to build.
It's not even an envoy or something. Like, there are things that we have to do.
Absolutely.
You know, we cannot also go to this international system and then just take it for the position's sake. Because in this country, people like position, whether we know it or not. They can just sit in the position and do nothing because they have that position. If this is what we want to do and, you know, advance the agenda of the country, it's not going to work. So we need to be proactive, because being chair in certain things, you have to be proactive. This is where you also bring in your own values into the whole project.
Look at the Lebanon issue. I mean, countries like Senegal are
but at least the government has expressed commitment
you know, that immediately we're going to do it. But what have they done?
Maybe the means are not there. Maybe the means. We said we don't have money.
I think, you know, I mean,
the mean, we don't. Senegal has an airline.
Foreign ministry and Gambians abroad.
Yes.
Gambians that are abroad, you know, they are not.
No, what I'm saying is, I mean, Gambia.
But at least government has expressed intention to what they need to do.
The close relationship between the Gambia and Senegal, we could have used that and get Senegalese to help us to get the Gambians out while they are getting their people out. You know, I mean, it's not part of foreign policy. But I think, you know, something definitely is a bit lax as far as that.
So you mean our people are still out there? The last time They said they were even chased away by their employers, because even the employers are looking for shelter.
Even somebody was killed there,
Yes. Well, actually, family who are Lebanese Gambians got killed. Not only one.
I saw one before, and recently
they are Gambians. Oh, Jadu, there's a Gambian as well.
Yeah.
But even this Lebanese family are Lebanese Gambian.
But I saw a different story before, and right now, yesterday, I think I saw another one. I'm not sure whether it's the same person. Somebody that's been killed. The same.
Yeah, the lady.
Yeah. The lady is the same story.
Yeah. Well, the one I'm talking about, the same story.
The one with the judge you saw him.
I can't remember this.
You know, prior to that, there was there's a woman and her children.
I think they went there on holiday or something with the family.
Yeah.
She was here with the Lebanese family, and they went on their holiday.
It could have been the same person. Yes, the same family we're talking about.
It could be.
Yeah.
But there are so many Gambians that are there as
Of
well.
course.
But I mean, for me, I think, I'm not just criticizing entirely, but I know that they've tried in certain areas. But in most cases, being proactive, projecting the image of the country, those things, that's what we need in terms of the foreign policy. But also, most important thing, how do you take care of your citizens that are away? For me, that's the job. It's nothing else.
Maybe we don't have the financial muscle to do it, but
Yeah.
I mean,
When we can open
diplomatically, we could have engaged.
when we could open embassies everywhere in Europe.
we could have got Senegal to
particularly.
help us, definitely.
You mean we could have used Senegal to help us
Yeah,
there?
of course, why not?
Well, that's
Or the
interesting.
British, through the Commonwealth.
Yeah, the Commonwealth, the same Commonwealth. We could say, well, we don't have the means to get
And
our.
you know, man, I always say that Gambia is loved by a lot. Be a Gambian and be somewhere else. You see the way, you naturally attract that attention. But we're not able to market and sell ourselves to an extent that, because we're also seen as a dependent beggar country. So everybody thinks like all that we have to offer is give me something, asking for something back home, like the tourism. Like we were doing when we were kids with 2 bars and mint.
So in that case, the Gambia's bid to become Secretary General of the Commonwealth is an improvement. It's a mark of improvement.
And we're not only the Commonwealth, but we are ECOWAS.
Yes,
Yeah,
the
we are
ECOWAS
also
Commonwealth,
OIC.
yes.
But beyond that, we are also in the UN Human Rights Council. They are like, you know, help suñ boppa Lamin.
Yes.
The bottom line is like we help suñ boppa. But like,
I think it's the
are we
visibility- visibility aspect also is missing.
It's missing.
But it's one thing to be in all these areas, but project it out. See, let the
Who
world know
who
that
should
you
lead?
are-
Who should lead? The government or the Gambian
Of
people?
course.
Government should
you have
lead.
the foreign ministry. It's supposed to be coordinating all these things, but I don't know. Something is definitely missing.
Okay, before we move on to Senegal, there's one small matter in Gambia. I mean, over the last 24 hours or 48 hours, you all see Gambians enchanted by the fact that the Independence Stadium have been given, well, what most people misunderstood. They said, well, everything is clear now, we're going to have our home matches there. But then we understand that the stadium will have to be physically inspected by officials from CAF to give the final approval so that we can host this coming match on November the 15th, the Gambia against Comoro Islands. And it's very, very important because we need to win that match to keep hopes alive, in the run, in the bids to qualify for the next Africa Cup of Nations. The information is that since our stadium has been banned, so to speak, the last 5 years now, it's been 5 years, can you remember? Wow. Hey, can you imagine? 5 years we haven't seen Gambia play at home. Now we have, the Gambia Football Federation is confident because, you have to inform CAF every match you have at least 4 weeks before the match and say, where do you want the match to be hosted? Naturally, if everything is okay, that question doesn't arise. Your home match should be your home country. But since CAF has started banning and embarrassing governments to look after their stadiums,
I had even Ghana.
Yeah, even Ghana, they were so embarrassed.
Yeah, with all their money.
Yeah, they were embarrassed. So CAF brought this thing that really embarrassed many governments around Africa for them to look at their stadiums, including the Gambia. Now that CAF or the GFF has supplied CAF with videos and images, that we are confident that the stadium now has been well improved according to the guidelines. We want you to schedule our match in Banjul. And CAF, after looking at those videos, said, okay, tentatively the match is scheduled for Banjul, but this is subject to confirmation. We will have to come and inspect.
But is there
So that kind of, yes, they will care before the 15th match. So that kind of dose, or try to put a little bit of water in the in the whole excitement, on the whole excitement.
Yeah.
But come on, 5 years we didn't play here at our home. Even our home matches play mostly in Morocco.
Yeah, I think the GFA or the ministry, did not do it well, because I understand they did something and they thought it was right.
Yes,
it wasn't right.
Yes.
I think what they should have got, they should have got the right guidelines from CAF as to what they're supposed to do and how they're supposed to do it, but they failed to do that. I think that was a mistake on their part.
Yeah, I think I should get that clear. The thing is, CAF does not deal with government.
Yeah.
It's with National Football Association.
That's why I said the GFA.
So even though the government was doing the renovations, they should have involved the GFA or the GFF in the even in the awarding of contracts, or even in the whole thing, so that they can get CAF guidelines.
Absolutely.
So that you know what should be in place. But that didn't happen, because according to the last CAF inspection, guidelines would have helped the Gambia.
Yeah.
So money was spent, but it didn't help the situation. So the question was asked, how did you spend all these monies without adhering to CAF? Now we need to put another hundreds of millions there again. So that was a big issue. What would have been this? But then there you have to blame both sides. All right. No matter what happened, no matter their relationship, the government should involve the GFF, because CAF deals with GFF.
I think the blame
But even if
more to the ministry, who were
trying to ministry. But even if that's the case, the stadium management, the stadium manager is second or third in command in the GFF. So
your sports and how complex it is.
So no matter what happened, there should have been really a coordination, so that the monies that have been spent would have taken care of or satisfied CAF regulations. But then we have passed that bridge now. Everyone is thinking.
Yeah, we're excited that it is coming. Hopefully. When I saw the news yesterday, I said, well, finally, with all the colorful, now we have a very colorful stadium.
Well, it's a lesson, I think. We'll be careful next time not to allow it to deteriorate to any level.
And in fact, to be frank, this deterioration notice warning from CAF came back in 2014. So even Jammeh's government neglected the stadium.
Wow.
Yeah, that's right. The early warnings came as far back as 2014.
Wow.
So even Jammeh's government neglected this stadium. It wouldn't have been at that stage. Actually.
No, me when I learned of Ghana's own, I said, now okay, I can excuse me.
It's no longer a Gambian
Senegal at one time. They didn't have to go and play in Guinea.
Wow.
Yes.
At one time they even kept on
even countries that are bigger, they neglect. That's probably that's why CAF wants.
That's why maintenance. At some point, I saw a build of about government buildings and maintenance and all that. Right. I think we need to have that culture, maintaining stuff and ensuring that. But the thing is, for sports, this country needs to start investing, not just the stadium focus, but how do we invest more broadly into the sports? Because it's for me, I see it more as a good way of creating employment for young talents all over the country.
But there's not much money in sports. That has to do with so many things. Because
just look at the under 17. We used to be kings of Africa.
Yeah.
Just look at how we were humiliated by Senegal.
3-1 by Senegal. Well, I think the lack of resources
investment
is a problem. But then, where will the money come from? That's the problem.
Like in this country, if we need money, they bring money out.
Course,
but when where we need to invest, the productive sector, where we have to put the money. When I say that this country was not poor during the COVID-19, they just came out with hundreds of millions. Government have this money.
And apart from that, just look at the last OIC summit. For a 2-day summit, you go and buy.
When they want to spend it, they get the money.
89.
But now to invest in the people, luxury vehicles. We don't have this. We don't have
89 luxury vehicles. They said, each one of them costing $12 million. It's just for a 2-day summit. Just take the person from the airport to the hotel, back to the
airport. But in football, you know that over the last 2 years, the government spent nearly 200 million in the national team alone. 200 million plus.
But that's good. That's our money. So we spend in things that we like. So that is good. But then the thing is, let them look more money for the youth and sports, because youth and sports is not only about sports. Also, there are other creative sectors that are also there that needs to be explored. So the youth sector is something that is the future. It is the productive sector. So that's where the focus is supposed to be. But for me, it's not only on the sports. There are quite a lot of things that young people are into now. How do you harness that? How do you develop that to ensure that, you know, eventually when people started growing, you are more professional, you know, football will grow itself, you know, will grow itself in this country, because the money will start, you know, trickling down, and things will happen. Families will move out of poverty. Those are things that you need to start targeting.
Absolutely, yeah.
You know?
Let's move on to Senegal. We know that on the 17th November, there's going to be parliamentary elections. I think for 160 seats now, or somewhere around that.
Yeah.
President Diomaye Faye didn't need to call elections for parliament, because the life of that the one he dissolved should have gone up to 2027, I believe. But he said that he didn't think that those representatives any longer enjoy the trust of the masses of Senegalese who voted for him overwhelmingly and rejected the political parties of those members of parliament. So he believed that the Senegalese government doesn't trust that group of people now. So he called snap elections for November the 17th. His intention is that he believes that the people trust his PASTEF party than any other party. So he believes he will get a majority of seats in the elections to be able to carry out some of the reforms, he said. Controversial reforms, actually, because they want to put behind bars anybody who is alleged or guilty of corruption. He mentioned a lot of economic pillage during the Macky Sall regime. But we have seen that, I mean, the Macky Sall coalition or any new one that has come out invigorated, and they are coming very big, you almost uniting against PASTEF. Fred, do you think President Diomaye Faye really made a bad gamble when he called these elections early, and he may not get the result he desires?
Well, I mean, like, he might not, but he might also, because I mean, politics is also about that. Being an incumbent, it has an advantage, especially going to a local government, because now people will look at it from this side that, well, if we give him the support, and Senegal has a lot of experience in terms of this, well, if we give him the support, then he'll be able to govern properly, and they also know where they're coming from. And I think it's for Senegal, I mean, to decide in terms of that, because if they don't have an absolute majority, then governing will be difficult, especially the radical reforms that they want to bring in. But I also trust that is not a mistake. It's not a mistake because it's also part of a rupture that they're talking about, and it has to be done. So now it is a risk, and politics is about taking risks, and they're confident, they're doing their campaign. Yeah, let's see what the outcome is. But I don't see any mistake in it. It has to be done.
But it seemed to have invigorate and unite the opposition against.
It's the system. So it's like they were here before, but uniting also doesn't. Maybe he is more expert on Senegalese politics. Let me keep quiet before.
We saw Jawa that.
Well, of course, it's a gamble on the part of the PASTEF government, but I mean, it can pay off. Why not? I see no reason why they cannot be. In fact, even the united opposition you are talking about there is beginning to some. I mean, just 2 days ago you had Decefal, decamping and going to Sonko. I mean, to PASTEF. He said his party is going to support PASTEF, even though that he was part of the coalition, Sama Sakad. I mean, so they are beginning to kind of disintegrate somehow. So probably the gamble is going to pay off. But again, I mean, you remember everybody is quoting Usman Sonko, Prime Minister Usman Sonko, saying at once that it's not safe to give majority to the ruling to the government.
He once said that.
He once said that. So I mean, he said to give it a balance. When the government they have the presidency, they control the majority, then the National Assembly should be controlled by the opposition. He once advocated for that. So
but today he wants everything.
Well, of course, I mean that's the situation has changed. So it's a question of governance is kind of real. Is facing reality. Being in the opposition is one thing, but being in government is a different reality altogether. So that's the situation. But I mean, I see no reason why it cannot pay off, because they have got the incumbency, they've got the means, they've got the money, they've got the resources and everything else.
They are very quick to say that they don't use government resources. I mean, the last time Sonko had a rally, people paid at stadiums to get in. That was quite unique in Africa. For people even, what a unique way of fundraising. People pay tickets to go into the stadium.
Yeah, well,
if anybody is convinced about a political party individually, that's what political parties need to do: education, get people understand, and parties are like it's people that share the same ideas that come there. So people that own it. So if they are convinced about their own project, they will spend their money. They spend their resources. They spend their. It's not like you don't need to go and steal somewhere and then come and give it to the people, or take back somewhere and then what are you supposed to develop the country? You take it back and give it to people in politics. So for them, this is more like a showing that we are totally different from the they say that they're anti-system. So if you're anti-system, you also have to show what is also possible. And if right now, Pasteur, they're raising funds, they're doing that, and they can do their campaign without that because the people believe in the project. And just yesterday, I saw that they nominated somebody, and almost everybody, went and they were criticizing that nomination. But it shows ownership because people are putting in their money. It's not like me saying, "Now I own my party, I put most of the money. Yeah, you want to follow me, I kick you out, I kick this one out." But this is like a collective ownership, and that's what makes the party unique. And I think in the future, political scientists will start studying this kind of model in African politics and see, what lessons could be learned from it. Because this is definitely, parties do fundraising, but this kind that is like more show.
It's a novel idea,
It's a different idea. It shows people-centeredness, and it also shows that party is people's party. Not like Sonko or Jomai party, because already they've been criticized for one nomination that they made by their own members.
People. Are you too not concerned about violations of human rights and persecution of opposition members? I had Amnesty and some other groups are starting criticizing the government of clamping down on dissenting voice. The case of Bogan Gay, I think the media tycoon and politician who claimed he was arrested when he wanted to go to Bakel.
Well, of course he was arrested. In fact, he's still detained.
He's still detained,
He's supposed to
there are
on the
concerns
30th.
that and other cases are coming. Is the government getting vindictive now?
But that's how it looks like to many people, because Bugan was leading a group of politicians and they were taking some aid to the people of Bakel because of the floods there. There are a lot of flash floods in Bakel area, and they were taking this food aid and other help to those people. And the entrance to Bakel, they met with the gendarmes who asked them not to get in there because President Jomai Faye was already in there. And that's where the scuffle came about, and Bugan was arrested and he's still detained. So that's it.
He allegedly refused to go back or stop until the president.
I wasn't surprised because Bugan is another character altogether. He was very critical of the Macky Sall government, and he was all the time, involved in this kind of thing. So I wasn't surprised that he, among those who were there, because that lady who stood for president, Anta Babakar Ngom, was there, and then you have Cherno Bohum, and and a few other prominent members of the Samasakadu coalition. But he was the only one they picked among the lot, and they detained him. So these are all political games, and I think sometimes if the Pasteur government continues to do this kind, because everybody was in sympathy with them when they were being harassed by the Macky Sall government. If they now start doing similar things to the opposition, I think it's not going to be in their interest to do so. Definitely.
I also see that the opposition is also trying to be relevant in Senegal at this minute, because for me, I also think for security reason, if a president is in a place and they say everybody, because I also follow Senegalese media, and they were talking about one time where Macky was inside a mosque, and one of the syringe was coming, they say you cannot enter, and the syringe move away. So for me, it's also depending on the role of the gendarmerie and what they do. Sometimes politicians will want to take opportunity and capitalize on those different stuff.
That's true.
And for me, what it was interesting with the Bogan case, I mean, I have no interest, no stake in Senegalese politics, but what I follow, what was
we're still on air.
Yeah, what was interesting there was also the, seeing his own TV. Saying follow me, like, so it seems like it's like premeditated and all that stuff, and I don't think, human rights issues are there, and also those detentions, those concerns are there, and they need to be very careful. They need to be really careful in terms of that. But of course, we need to also, balance, political strategy. And also real. For me, I see Bogan was more on a political mission as well. Yeah. So if you are there, the president is there. You have to. The president is the primary #1 citizen. So if the security feel they need to be taken care of, you need to listen, because you're also anticipating to be a president tomorrow. So sometimes you cannot just come and rough things up.
Why did the matter take this long? His incarceration, when it was a small matter, you wait or force him to wait until the president passed and then let him go.
Yeah, I thought probably, to tell a citizen that you cannot get into this village or this town or whatever just because the president, I don't think it makes a lot of sense, because Bakel is a very big area. You don't necessarily, they can maybe have guided them to go to a part where the president is not, but you are not getting into this place as a Senegalese citizen. I think that was not quite fair at all, because
the President Jomai for himself said, the issue was for him to stop. Wait until the president passed. He allegedly refused to do that.
Yes. No, in fact, the president went by air. He was not.
I think when he was going, he
was going for another place to another. But it's, like Senegal now, they're in transition. They also need to be very careful, because transitions are messy.
Yes. Allegations of rights violations or vindictiveness.
This is the remnants of the entire system. So for me also, I see some of the politicians trying to becoming more relevant.
That's what
because you need to get the attention.
Bogan is good at such a.
Bogan is good at that. Get the media attention.
Yeah, that's what surprised me, because he was not a sympathizer of former President Macky Sall.
So he was anti-system.
He was always anti-system. But again, he was always supportive of Sonko. In fact, when Sonko was detained in house arrest, he used to go there and visit him.
So what has changed then?
Well, I think he's always, he's an attention seeker kind of.
He's a habitual. Because he could have joined the coalition, but he opted not to be waiting for second round. And there is no second round. For me, I see. I also look at the population, what they are saying, but most of the things I see on social media, they're making fun of him as well.
Yeah.
So it's not like something that is breaking Senegal into half.
Is it not the pronouncements of Prime Minister Ousmane Sonko in particular, who said they will go out, for people, who might have been involved in corruption or siphoning government money? Those pronouncements must have scared the people.
But if you have done criminal work, I don't see anything wrong with that.
Absolutely not.
What is wrong with holding people accountable?
That's exactly what the government is supposed to do.
Yeah.
Isn't that not what is galvanizing the opposition, to go on checking, because there's a threat.
People like Bogan, I don't think they would.
There were travel bans even before the process started.
Yeah, that's talking about the former government.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Bogan was not part of the.
Yeah, I know, but Bogan has sympathizers in the former Macky Sall coalition.
Yeah, but then there's a reason. I don't, because this is what Senegal is voted for even.
Yeah.
They want Jubalanti and whatever, the 3 J's. This is what they want. And because of one of the major reasons is also the economic, the siphoning of resources, the wealth. When I go to Dakar and talk to people, you see how angry some of them are. Those kind of narrative is there. And if it is about the money of the people and they have voted for that, if they don't implement that, the people will not vote for them. Yeah. So they have to be able to ensure that is done, but that is done in the due process of the law. Sometimes arresting people doesn't mean you are breaking the law. You follow the due process, you arrest them if there are charges, you follow the due process of the law, and then you go through it. But if you arrest people and do it just kill them or put them somewhere else, or like Macky was doing, then it becomes problematic. But as long as the due process of the law is followed, and it's not, for me, I don't see anything with the corruption side. I don't see any problem on that. But maybe the human rights and all the things, people could be concerned about that. But otherwise, it's what they elected for. And,
where is Macky Sall in all this? I mean, the last time I saw a video, he seemed to be doing the Jammeh style, talking to the people through telephone.
Campaigning on WhatsApp.
Campaigning on WhatsApp. You saw it.
Yeah.
Where's his stand? He cannot come to Dakar, is it?
Why not? Of course. Well, I would advise that he shouldn't come to Dakar, because it could cause some problem, because certain supporters of the Pastef government are angry with him, and when he comes, probably they're going to try to kind of tapas him or whatever. And his supporters are also there. They are powerful, and that can cause a kind of problem. Although he is the head of the list, of his coalition, and when it comes to election, maybe if they he will be among the first to be elected, because
as
when you
MP.
are top of the list, yes, as MP.
Macky Sall will come as an MP.
Well, I don't know.
he wants to protect his past.
Yeah, exactly. That's it. So I honestly, I wouldn't want him to come, or I wouldn't expect him to come to Senegal with the situation as it is, because that can cause
is he like Jammeh going out for a long absence?
It's not like
because his presence is
probably
as long as possible.
Probably when things stabilize, he can come back, especially when he's elected as MP. Then he's got the the parliamentary immunity. He can come.
It's a political strategy that they know, because also they're going after them with all the monies and all that stuff, so they need also a calm to fight back, and so that is what it is there. That's why I say Senegal is transitioning. It's a transitioning society also, and they need to be we experience our own transition, and I think there's a lot of things that they can learn from us.
Ours was turbulent, but a little bit.
Interesting thing is
everything went chaotic through our transition anyway.
So that they have to be careful. But what you are supposed to do as a state, you have to do as a state, because one person stealing the monies that belong to the future generation. I mean, let the human rights organization, let us cry foul. As long as it is right, you have done that, due process is followed, that is justice.
Yeah.
And Pastef often said that all the opposition are yearning for, or looking for, praying for, or probably instigating is for misunderstanding between President Diomaye Faye and Ousmane Sonko, so that they can capitalize on Senegal, like the Gambia, like the Adama Barrow lawyer Dabo style.
I think they need to be careful, because there are always people lurking around trying to, drive a wedge between them. Because I think they need to be very, very careful of such a thing. Absolutely, I agree.
You see some quarters of the opposition saying all this is done by Ousmane Sonko.
Yeah, because Ousmane Sonko is the politician now.
Yeah,
you see one of the, Pastef is creating rupture in Senegal. Now Diomaye, yesterday I saw him on the press, he's been asked, one of the statements, Sonko made a statement based on someone he nominated, and so he was asked about that. But now he's doing all his presidential job, and Sonko is the politician. Yeah. So these guys are in the field with Sonko, not with Diomaye.
In fact, what they have been advocating for, Pastef, was that the presidency should be separated from the political parties. And what Diomaye did was, immediately he was elected president, he resigned from the party, from Pastef. So Ousmane Sonko is the head of Pastef, but Diomaye is not technically a member of Pastef. So he's, as president, they're supposed to be kind of, separate
above politics.
Yeah, but then the problem now that they have, that Sonko's politics in a free Senegal is too much for these guys. And like your opponent, you just want them sidelined so you can.
They see Sonko as the biggest threat and not Diomaye.
Because the initial. If Sonko is the main guy.
Of course.
Sonko was the deal.
Diomaye
is the front.
But Diomaye happened to be a byproduct.
So there are so many Diomayes within Sonko's camp. It's a possibility. He's been electing mayors, electing parliamentarians, and so he's the main opposition.
So unlike the Gambia, Adama Barrow branched off from the UDP to form his NPP when he became president. Diomaye dare not do that. If he does that, are you telling me that he goes empty-handed?
Yeah.
Unless you go with the presidency, and with the presidency, you can always attract.
I think Diomaye's survival depends on Sonko's goodwill. Yeah,
Sonko is goodwill.
Because for Gambia's case, that's why President Barrow had to go and look for
alliance from the APRC.
Yeah. Because I always joke. I mean,
no, that's definitely the case.
No, like so when they were moving, they moved with the rank and file and then joined the APRC.
Yes, he wanted a base.
Yeah, I wanted a base.
That's why he would have to swim with the devil, so to speak.
Yeah.
Oh, gentlemen, thank you very much for being on the brunch, Setmati and Demba Ali Jao. Thank you very much all for your perspectives and to this afternoon's program. The brunch will be back next week. Until then, please continue to have a great weekend. Thank you. Yeah.
Islamic microfinance is becoming an increasingly popular mechanism for poverty alleviation, especially for developing countries around the world. This microfinance service adheres to the principles of Islam as a form of social responsibility. Yona Islamic Microfinance is the Islamic microfinance of choice in the Gambia, trustworthy and reliable. At Yona Islamic Microfinance, we provide savings products, current accounts, financing products in conformity with Islam. In addition, Yona Islamic Microfinance also offers local and international remittances, takaful fund, management of zakat, management of awqaf, trading and investment, and building of strategic partnerships to bring financial services to the doorstep of the poor with donor projects, madrasas, youth organizations, women groups, and farmer organizations. Make a choice with Yona Islamic Microfinance today. For more information on Yona Islamic Microfinance, call 377-2151 or 9832-151 or visit Yona head office at Tipa Garage, Bakote, or visit any Yona branch located countrywide near you.
Planning to have an uninterrupted electricity and water supply from solar energy in the Gambia and beyond? Worry no more, because Solar Enterprise will provide you with the solutions at reasonable cost. We have experienced personnel who can install and advise you about your electricity and water supply with a warranty period. We have good quality solar products from North America and Europe. We provide services and sell products to individuals, organizations, institutions, private offices, communities, and government. These products are solar panels, batteries, charge controllers, inverters, water pump, water heaters, freezers, submersible pumps, and general solar accessories. Visit our stores at 48 Karaba Avenue and Brusubi Highway, or you can call us on 7657 479 980-8483, 340-9400 or 635-9906.
Jamano Money Transfer Bureau de Change, your go-to option when it comes to money transfer. With Jamano, you can send money from anywhere in the world to your family and loved ones in the Gambia and be sure the funds will be delivered to them within the shortest time possible. For your convenience, funds sent through Jamano Money Transfer can be picked from all the banks and multiple other financial institutions, including Ajib Bank, Trust Bank, GT Bank, Mega Bank, Basic Bank, Reliance Financial Services, and Approved Services. Visit our head office at Brusubi opposite AfricMed next to Trust Bank Limited, or email us at info@jamanomt.com. You can as well call us on 310-3050 or 310-3051 or yet still 733-0688. Our opening hours are 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Monday to Saturday and 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. on Sunday. Jamano Money Transfer, your most trusted money transfer service where customer satisfaction is paramount. When you think of a simple, fast, and reliable money transfer, think Jamano Money Transfer.
I get it.
Okay, mbijan raga nyadi.
Albaka.
Mbaka important.
Yo, nga transfer la sto.
Ya transfer la.
Ha, po nyenje.
Okay. Nsila ID soto.
Sa soto. Sorry. I get it.
Mbijan bro.
Albaka.
Mbaka.
Bara Allah service o tariya. Mbare ki janna nun kunu bara tariya.
Jannom yona forest de bureau. Gambia tonkon na no mbari ya bere. Birin koyna fo kato.
Bari si kodo kino kato ni fo bolong labe to.
56 branches mola soto Gambia jam.
Ha?
Gambia kono anin Gambia bantala bankol. Nka kodo kiya bere to. Kodo sifa fo falindiro fo nyaadi lafta memmen na kodi to poto nin kodi maraw. Jannam number 1 di nyonta. Andum fana nata anoda enterprise sotale. Wolam nyindi ko domorol fana kol fana be firale de dadi manin domorol dir fana be teat. Gambia dawda yalo ngam fa kendol sotale je.
Wo moy o diat ha.
Apelenta
ni wo ka ni lafta nyelen kendol e binaji.
Yalo bu kanina ko la baraka ba.
Yalo ndel ciosano lo.
Abaraka.